Klal Yisrael in recent days has suffered some incredibly painful sorrows. It seems like the sorrows never end. We went through a summer of drowning and accidents and terror activities in Aryeh Zev. And Bikish Yaakov Leishe B'Shalva, we were looking for a moment of menucha, a few days of menucha. And just in the last days, the terrible Karbanos in Jersey City, young yeshiva bachur killed in car accidents, a terrible terrorist attack with a car with a woman and her 3-week-old baby, Rahman al-Islam, were killed, husband maimed for life, son in critical condition. It just goes on, the tzaros. And how are we supposed to deal with this? How are we supposed to view this? How are we supposed to go on with our regular day? Go into Simchas Chanukah, go into Yom Tov, Aryeh Zev. How are we supposed to do that when we're faced with such terrible tragedies? The Chazon Ish used to say, when asked about the Shoah or about terrible tragedies in Klal Yisrael, asked to explain it, of course he would never be able to explain it. There are no explanations. Darkei Hashem Nistar. But he would tell people that if Klal Yisrael can retain the status of Mamlechas Kohanim V'Gei Kadosh, there is no punishment too great. There is nothing that is too painful to be able to retain the status of who Klal Yisrael is. Klal Yisrael has always gone through tzaras. And like the Gedolei Musa used to always say, the darker the clouds, the greater the rain afterwards. To be able to understand that this is all a derech, a very painful derech to a Bereshim will be the ultimate geula. But we need the tzaras to stop. Chazal tell us that when we're going to read about the next 2-3 weeks, when finally Yosef sends a message that Binyamin should be sent to Mitzrayim because he didn't believe the story of the brothers. He wanted to see Binyamin. And Yehuda came to tell his father, tell Yaakov, that we have to bring Binyamin to Mitzrayim. Chazal say Yaakov coined the phrase, Misha Amel Lama died, Yom L'Tzarasai died. Let the one, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kavyachol, who said, when he created the world, said, die. At the end of 6 days before Shabbos, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw the Yarlakim Ki Tov. He saw that everything was fine. He said, die, and completing the work. The part of creation, of creating the world is done, and we can go into Shabbos, Vayonach Bayom HaShvi. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that same HaKadosh Baruch Hu, say, L'Tzarasai die, that there's be enough to the tzaras of Klal Yisrael. Begs the question, what does the creation of the world have to do with the tzaras? What is the meaning of Yaakov's statement that Chazal, unfortunately Jews have been saying throughout the millennia, throughout the ages? I heard from the Philadelphia Rosh Hashiva once, Aryeh Zev Zechon Tzaddik Levracha. He said so insightfully that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said die, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu say stop the creation of the world? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that in the Bria, in the world, is now enough that a man, Adam, and Bnei Adam will be able to go ahead and feel and sense and see HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the creation. Die. There was enough things created in the world to be able to feel the presence of the Bari Olam. When you wake up in the morning until you go to sleep in the evening, to be able to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world. So too HaKadosh Baruch Hu with tzaras, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends tzaras to Klal Yisrael to recognize that He's the Bari Olam, which we forget unfortunately too often. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us, reminds us who we are and who HaKadosh Baruch Hu is. It reminds us of what Machavaso Ba'olamo. And unfortunately, it takes something like tragedies to be able to catch our attention. Misha Amal Lama Dai, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu said it was enough. There's enough in the world to be able to continue the creation, be able to see HaKadosh Baruch Hu in creation. So too, Yom L'Tzaras HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we got it, we understand. We see from the tzaras, we recognize you, you're the Bari Olam, you're HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzurah Elamim, Ava Rachamim. Please stop the tzaras for Klal Yisrael. But I think the message is very important. What do we take out? How do we go on? Something found in this week's parasha tells us, the pasuk, that when the Medrash tells us that when Yosef went down to Mitzrayim, was sent down to Mitzrayim, he was carried down in the wagon, sold by his brothers, and in the wagon was carrying spices. And Rashi comments from Chazal, normally they carried things that were reach ra, had an evil, bad smell, a terrible smell. But this time they had an unusual merchandise that they were carrying, a load of besamim, of sweet-smelling spices, that Yosef should be able to be nana, to enjoy going down to Mitzrayim. And of course the question begs is, how is that comforting to Yosef? Yosef, his father's favorite, his father made him a kesonas pasim, he learned Torah with his father, a member of a family, to have his own brothers send him, throw him in a pit, and then sell him to slaves, a slave to Mitzrayim, to lie to their father and say that it was a wild animal had destroyed him, has eaten Yosef, nothing remains of him. There's the pain that Yosef must have been under has been incredibly impossible to describe. What is the fact that there's some sweet-smelling perfume make a difference? Ramoto Pergamansky once gave a mashal to explain this. He said there's a child that unfortunately has to go through a terrible operation. And the child is frightened. And the child is escorted by all his family, his siblings, and his Zayd and Bubby, and everybody to go to the hospital. And when they come to the hospital room, everyone's in the room with them. And they said, we're taking the child now to the operating room. Everyone has to say, just his mother can go. And the child goes in, and all of a sudden everyone stays behind. Just his mother is with them, holding on to him. And when they get to the operating room, they tell the mother, you have to wait outside. And the child goes in, he's frightened, he's alone. The child is shaking from fear. And all of a sudden he sees a glimpse of his mother's shadow by the door looking through the glass. He catches a little image of his mother, and he's comforted, and he calms down, and he feels some sense of security that his mother's really with him, his mother's watching. So too HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to send a message to Yosef. Yes, Yosef, you're in tremendous pain. Yosef, this is an unbearable situation that a person had to be in, to be sold by his brothers, to be sent away from his father's home. A father like Yaakov Avinu, the Bechir Shabavos, extremely painful. But I'm going to send you a little glimpse, a little nechama, a little something, besamim, a little sweet-smelling spice, to recognize, to remember that I am there watching you, and I'm with you the entire time. The tragedy in Jersey City was an incredibly tragic situation for two families, a wife and a mother of small children, a son and a brother, taken away in a moment. But yet the news had come out afterwards that the design, the plan was to attack the cheder 2 doors away, where there were 54 little kinderlach in the room at that time with several rabbeim. And they had with them explosives and machine guns and all kinds of equipment, Rahman al-Islan, impossible to even comprehend what the tragedy would have been in should they have gone access, should their plan have been able to keep without having to be run, being chased by the police and run into the grocery store. Rahman son, what could have come out of it. Hashem sent us in the midst of the tragedy and the pain and the loss of life. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a little besamim, a little sweet spelling, something to show us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is with us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is protecting us in the midst of our pain, in the midst of the tsar, in the midst of the loss. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends us a sign that He's there with us, He's watching us, He's protecting us. And I think the second message is something so more important, is that we must take notice of this. We can't just see this, listen to the news, and as so many people do, they go online and they look at the news item and see what happened, and then immediately scroll down to the next item and maybe turn to the sports. It's just another news item that doesn't enter the heart, doesn't break the heart, doesn't shed a tear. That's not Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael has to focus. Klal Yisrael has to be able to feel for others, to be able to share the tzara of another Jew, to feel, not just scroll down to another news item. This is something I think that's an important message. And finally conclude, we're about to begin the Yom Tov of Chanukah, the Chag HaOr. And in that field we're going to say the Al Hanisim, where we repeat again and again Al Hanisim, and we refer to Al Mechamos. We thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for the Mechamos. Mechamos, why would we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for wars? It can't be that we're thanking Him for the victory of the wars, because it already says Al Chulos, on the victories. So we're thanking Hashem for wars. Why would we want wars? So if Soloveitchik, the Chorol Bracha, used to say over the name of the Beis HaLevi, we give thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It doesn't mean the actual wars themselves. What it means is the suffering that comes along with wars, that comes, unfortunately, before redemption. Before there can be victory, there has to be war. There has to be pain, there has to be loss. There has to be tsar. And then comes victory, and then comes geula, and then comes the Or. The Or Haganah is the light that we're waiting for so many years, the Or Shel Mashiach. Strength, Mechamos brings new strength. Mechamos brings understanding, brings commitment, brings a reaffirmation, a recommitment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the Mechamos we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for sending us the Mechamos that will bring us to the ultimate Yeshua, the victory, the pain, the Mechama before the victory, before the Yeshua. And we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Misha'amal Yolamodai, Yomol Tzaras Edai, to bring an end to the tzaras of Klal Yisrael. Be zoche ber Hashem, this Chanukah, to be zoche to the Or Hagonos, the hidden light of Mashiach. Binyan Beis HaMikdash, B'meher Yameinu. Amen.